Hi guys, good evening and welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host Eddie, and in tonight's video I'll be discussing what I thought of the latest and greatest episode of this season so far. Even though we're only 3 episodes in, this was by far the best episode of season 5, AMC's Fear the Walking Dead. I just got done watching it. I missed it last night because I was seeing Men in Black International. However, I just finished watching it just now and I loved it. This was a fantastic episode. Now, before I go into all of it, please be warned and advised, of course, this is a spoiler-filled episode review. Again, if you're not caught up by Fear the Walking Dead by this episode or the first 2 episodes of season 5, do not keep watching or listening, as I will be discussing massive spoilers, plot details, character reveals, etc., etc. Okay, that being said, you have been warned, and so spoilers are from here on out starting now. Dwight is back, finally. I was hoping we'd get this reunion scene in the season premiere. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But now, by the 3rd episode, Dwight is back, and now he has joined our group of survivors. He has reunited with Morgan, and it's great seeing him after such a long time. Last time we saw him, Daryl exiled him from all of the communities after the war with the Saviors had ended, and Negan had been captured and defeated. And Daryl told him to go look for his wife and never to return, and if he did, he'd kill him. And there's been quite a bit of a time jump between Fear and Walking Dead. And it looks like Dwight has had a hard time locating his wife, Sherry. The thing I loved the most about this episode is that one of my favorite characters from Fear and one of my new favorite characters from Walking Dead had some excellent scenes and screen time together, John and Dwight, and I loved how they had a common ground already, like they had established a common ground between characters. These two men who were both in pretty dark places looking for the women they love bonded over that fact, that one thing they had in common. I think that's something that John recognized and saw in Dwight because he had that same look and that same feeling within himself, only last year. And I love the fact that he and Dwight, kind of bond over that. I love the interaction between Dwight, John, and June. And I also loved, how exciting this episode was. I mean, if this episode had been nothing but John using fancy gun tricks and trick shooting to kill walkers, I would watch a full hour of that. I would watch a whole episode just dedicated to John Dory killing walkers because it was so awesome. And that San Antonio split shot that he did, that was delightful. It was hilarious. It was awesome. And it was concluded with a catchy one-liner when John says to June, "That's a San Antonio split." So that was pretty great. Again, I love seeing Morgan reunite with Dwight. That was pretty awesome. And I also love, something else I loved about this episode is that a lot of the characters were using their past trauma and recent personal experiences to relate to other characters in order to get them to trust them and open up to them. Alicia talking to the kids over the walkie. John talking to Dwight about his struggle for his search for June, relating to his struggle for his search for Sherry. Characters opening up to one another and then helping each other. And June convincing Dwight not to kill himself and not to give up looking for Sherry. Everybody has gone through something and has gone through trauma, and they're all helping each other and keeping each other moving forward by sharing their personal experiences and telling each other, "Hey, I understand how you feel. I've been there. I completely understand. I've been in your shoes. I know how it feels. I know what you're going through." I mean, that was pretty much the tone of this episode, and I loved it because that's what people do. That's what good friends do in real life. When someone we care about is hurting or struggling, or even if we meet some random stranger out of the blue and we just start chit-chatting and we discover we have some common ground, it's what causes us to open up to each other as people, because that's what people do. It's how we connect to one another, through shared personal experiences. I'm not saying it's the only way we connect to each other. It's just a great way to connect to each other. And yeah, so I love seeing John and Dwight firing pistols side by side. I also loved how we got to learn more about John's past. We knew he was a trick gunfighter and a Western town attraction, and we got to see it in person finally. Not the exact one he worked at, but pretty much the same one, just in a different town. But this was a fantastic episode. It was exciting. It was action packed. It had a lot of heart behind it. And then it had an interesting twist to it. Apparently, these kids are the ones who have been setting up these disgusting walker blockades and roadblocks, tying walkers together using their guts and intestines and then severing their heads and hanging them from trees and billboards. This whole time I'm thinking there's an unseen threat or sinister force or maybe a hostile group of survivors out there that our characters are going to have to deal with. But it seems like it's this group of kids. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, why are they doing this? Why would they set up such a disgusting defensive perimeter? And why are they so adamant about not accepting help from these guys or anybody else for that matter? But like everything else on this show, I'm sure those questions will be answered in good time. In the meantime, though, I loved this episode. It was my favorite one of the season so far. I would love to see more scenes featuring Morgan and Dwight, and then definitely more scenes featuring Dwight and John. I'd love to see those two become friends and allies. This was a great John episode. It featured plenty of awesome gun shooting and fighting and walker kills and some great heartfelt character moments. So what did you guys think of this episode? Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Were you expecting more, expecting less? I want to hear your thoughts, opinions, and your feedback down below in the comments section. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more episode reviews like this one. Fear the Walking Dead airs new episodes every Sunday night on AMC. Don't miss it. Have a great rest of your night. And of course, until next time, may the Force be with you.